Welcome, friends! Have you ever wondered if you have depression? Today we're going to talk about 7 signs that you might. Hey guys! Today we're going to talk about some signs and symptoms that you might have depression. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Please click subscribe if you want to continue seeing my videos. So let's get to it. Diagnosis that is kind of the lowest level diagnosis for depression in the DSM, which is what we use to diagnose, is called major depressive disorder. And so oftentimes this is referred to as high functioning depression. So just good to remember, if you hear that term, high functioning depression is actually not a mental health diagnosis, but oftentimes major depressive disorder is referred to as that. So just a little bit of background to major depressive disorder or high functioning depression is that we see this a lot in professionals. So lots of helping professionals, lots of high stress jobs like lawyers, doctors, things like that. So a lot of times we see it called high functioning depression in kind of the higher class, if you will, occupations, but just know it's all the same, okay? High functioning depression is not a diagnosis, but it's often referred to when we talk about major depressive disorder. So we're going to go ahead and start on what the symptomology is, and so you can kind of make a check mark. You have to have 5 of these in order to have a diagnosis of major depressive disorder. So the first one is depressed mood most of the day, nearly every day for at least 2 weeks. Okay, at least 2 weeks. It needs to be a mood that's low and that's depressive. So 2 weeks is kind of the main criteria in this one. The second one is lack of pleasure in things that you typically like to do. So for example, if you typically like to go to book club, or you typically like to hang out with friends, or you normally like to play basketball or do crafts, right? Those are all things that you typically like to do. And if nearly every day for the last 2 weeks you meet this criteria of not wanting to do any of that, just feeling so low and so down that you don't want to do any of that, you can put just a little checkbox next to this one, okay? The next one is a change of weight. So either gaining weight or losing weight that's not intentional, right? Because many times when we are feeling depressed, we're either overeating or undereating. So oftentimes I'll hear clients say, I'm just not hungry, I can't eat, I'm not purposely doing it, I can't do it. My stomach hurts, I don't feel right, I just can't eat. Or people who say, I can't stop, I never feel full, I just kind of sit and binge and eat and it's not normal for me, but it's what's felt right. So again, over the last 2 weeks, that nearly every day that has occurred. Changes in sleep patterns, so hyposomnia, or insomnia. So hypo means sleeping a lot, and insomnia is not being able to sleep at all. So drastic changes in our sleeping pattern. And again, oftentimes I'll hear people say, I just lay in bed and I can't fall asleep, or people who say, I can't get out of bed. I'm just not able to get out of bed. The next one is loss of energy. So when you have a normal day outside of depression, your energy kind of goes up and down throughout the days, right? Typically in the morning, we wake up with less energy, and then within a small amount of time, we get more energy, and at the day, we get some less energy. This is like throughout the day. So this is loss of energy throughout the day. We wake up, we feel tired, we feel exhausted, we don't have any energy, we don't have the gumph to get up and go and do things, and we end the day the same way. So overall, a total loss of energy for us. Feeling worthless or guilty. And so this is like, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing things right, or like that guilt that sits in about that conversation I had last week, I shouldn't have said that, or to my mom, I shouldn't have said that, or to my best friend, why did I say that, why did I act like that? So those feelings of like, gosh, I just suck, I'm just not worthy, this is terrible, why am I here? That worthless, that guilt type feeling. Indecisiveness or difficulty concentrating. So we'll hear people say like, I'm trying to read this book, but I just can't remember anything from it. I can't follow the plot line. I watch TV, but I just kind of zone out and I can't follow it. Or indecisiveness. So you have a decision that you need to make and you just can't make a decision. It's just too hard to make that decision. So that's a criteria as well. And the last one is recurrent thoughts of death. And so this is kind of one that piques a lot of people's interest because I think we're so scared to talk about it. But the reality is that I would argue majority of people have at least at one point in their life thought things such as, what would it be like if I wasn't here? This is really hard. It would be nice to not have to deal with this. Those kind of like passive thoughts of suicidality. But I think we don't talk about it because we're so worried that we're going to be just like shipped off into a mental hospital if we say like, hey, you know what, this last week I was feeling really down and really glum and I had this thought. But in major depressive disorder, it's having that thought recurrent, right? And also with this part of the diagnosis or this symptom of it is the actual thoughts of acting on it and or acting on it, so suicide attempts. And so I'll do another video another day about suicidality and those thoughts of suicide. But remember that you need to meet 5 of the 7 criteria that I had listed on here to be able to meet this diagnosis. But only a certified therapist, psychologist, somebody who's actually certified to diagnose can diagnose you with this. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I have some of those, or I have all of those, or I have a couple of those, and you're questioning like, oh my goodness, maybe this is making sense for why I felt this way, or just kind of curious about what that's all about, please, please, please seek mental health services. It's super simple. Honestly, the easiest way to do it is like go into your Google and Google up therapists, counselors, psychologists in my area to find somebody who is in your area that can work with you, and research them well to make sure that they're a good fit and that they can take your insurance and things like that. But please, 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 if you feel like you have met some of those symptoms or you're struggling with some of those symptoms, please seek help. Again, please subscribe. If you like these videos, let me know of things that, if you have ideas of other videos to make, I would love to hear them. And if your depression has looked different or you have a different story, feel free to comment below if you would like. You don't have to. You absolutely don't have to. Or if I missed something, if you're like, hey girl, there's another part of major depressive disorder or high functioning depression that you missed, please holla, shout out below, and let me know. Thanks, guys.